Hey guys, so here we are going to be following a shading demo. I'm going to start off by introducing you to your pencils. The first pencil you're going to be using is going to be your 2B pencil. You can see it's pretty dark, but it's the lightest one that you have and the hardest pencil that we're going to be using. So that's your 2B pencil. Next we have your 4B pencil. It's also pretty light, it's a little bit softer, so you're gonna get a little bit of that darker color coming in. We're using the same pressure for these, so you can just kind of see that the lead itself is what's darker. Gonna go ahead with your 6B. This is the darkest pencil and also the softest lead that you have. So you'll find when you're using your 4B and your 6B pencils, you're probably going to want to sharpen it a little more often because it is softer. So that means the lead gets, you're going to have to sharpen it a little bit more. Also, when you're holding your pencil, you want to hold your pencil kind of further down the handle so that you have more range of motion. If you're holding your pencil too close to the tip, you have a really limited amount of range here. So you can make really short, kind of stronger pencil marks. If you hold it further down, look at that range of motion you have. You can create really loose, long pencil marks as opposed to those shorter, darker pencil marks. And that's what we want. It's gonna just be more comfortable for you also. And you can see where I'm making long pencil strokes there. You can do circles, and it's also easier to make lines, searching lines for when we're drawing still lifes and things like that. They won't be perfect, but they do kind of help map your line work out, and holding your pencil lighter also just applies less pressure, so then when you do have to erase, if you want to go in and erase, it's not super dark, so it actually works out for the better. So now that we have our handiwork, I'm going to show you a little bit of some shading. So here I'm doing what we call cross hatching. So cross hatching, you can see I'm putting in lines going one diagonal way and then going the opposite diagonal way to add kind of darkness and depth. So I'm going in a different direction. If I'm going diagonally, then I'm going up and down and horizontal so that you get that. Now there's many ways to shade, and I'm also showing you how to do shading with just really small circular pencil strokes too. Holding your pencil really lightly and then just going over certain spots a little bit more and drawing tinier little circles around it. It's gonna give it more of that shaded look that you see there. So it's really good for you guys to practice and do a couple different styles of shading because there's no one perfect way to do it, and it's different for everybody. A lot of you are gonna find that it's easier to use the cross-hatching technique where you're going in different directions with your lines, and a lot of you might just find it easier to go in that circular technique. All right, and we're gonna do a little exercise here with your hands. So go ahead and follow along here. We're gonna first start off by loosening up our hand. This is just kind of an exercise to get your hand a little loosey-goosey, get your wrist flowing. Again, look at how I'm holding the pencil. It's pretty much the middle of the pencil. I'm holding it very lightly, and I'm shading in this big circle here. So do you see these really long pencil marks? That's what we want to go for when we're shading. You see, you don't have to pick up your pencil too many times when you're doing this. In fact, it's going to be a lot easier for you the less you pick up your pencil when you're doing sketches. And this will also translate over to when we go into doing our gesture drawing, which is going to be what we're going to be focusing on in other classes. Focusing more on motion. And this is kind of a motion here with all the circles. All right, so now we're moving on to the actual crystal drawing. We're going to start off by first making a square. Doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, we can erase. And then you're gonna draw a line coming out of every corner. You guys can also pause this video at any point. This is drawn in real time. I just wanted to let you guys know that. But you are welcome to pause anywhere that you find you might need a little bit of extra time while you're working on this. There are going to be a lot of times where I'm actually not talking through it right here because of all the shading. It does get a little repetitive, but if you follow along with me, you guys will also end up with a cool crystal shape. So here I'm drawing in a second layer of lines, kind of making an emerald cut shape with this crystal design. Right now, I'm just drawing in all the different little lines, so it might be easy for you guys to just pause after every step just to make sure that you're on the same page. Alright, now we're still finishing up our drawing here, so just kind of stick with me here, guys. You should be pretty much finishing up here in a couple minutes. We're going to start our shading on this. If you need to take some time to clean up your lines and just erase anything, again, feel free to pause the video, because once we get into the shading, you really don't want to go back in and erase too much. It's going to be a little difficult to do that. So I'm going in with my 2B pencil first, and I'm still sticking with my 2B pencil. This is the pencil that I started with. Keep on going through with this one 2B pencil. And we're just kind of adding light shading here to the middle gem. So you see I'm doing the left top corner, the bottom right corner, and also doing a little kind of circular thing in the middle there. It's kind of like an oval shape. And I'm not adding too much dimension here with this shading because we're gonna go back in with our 4B and even our 6B pencil to add a little bit of dimension. And here I'm just adding a little bit of shading, almost outlining those corners that we already put in. So you can see we're leaving a little bit of a light space in between all the corners and just adding a little bit of shading to give it some dimension. Now when you're doing this, it's probably not going to seem like it looks like a crystal at all. It's going to look really close up, like a bunch of shapes and things just smudged together, but that's really how all drawing and painting works, guys. It's all an illusion. It's all different little pieces of pencil marks, and they're all layered on top of each other that make things look like they're coming off the paper, make things look like they're closer, make things look like they're further. Things that look darker do look closer, and things that look lighter do look like they're further away. So that's where you get that dimension. Now, when you have a crystal or a precious stone that's cut like this little emerald shape we're doing here, you do see some pieces look closer and some pieces look further because you have so many different cuts that are going on in the stone, and that's what gives it this dimension that you're seeing. So you're pretty much following the same technique for every corner here, just adding a little bit of shading with that 2B pencil. We're going in with the 2B pencil the whole time here, right now. And we'll go in order. So after I'm done with the 2B pencil, you won't see it on camera, but I'll go ahead and mention when I go ahead and switch on over to the 4B and then finally the 6B. So we're almost done with all the 2B shading here. And you can start to see there's a little bit of dimension already, because you can layer up a 2B pencil. In fact, you could do this whole drawing with your 2B pencil, but you just be using a little bit more of your elbow grease, and you really don't need that. So that was the 2B pencil. And now we're switching it over to our 4B pencil. So 4B, we're just gonna go over some of these little corners that we already went over with the 2B pencil to add a little bit of a darker color to everything. It's just gonna follow the same shapes, but making them a little bit deeper in certain areas. And you'll start to notice that if you look at your painting, if you look at your drawing from further away, you'll start to notice that it's slowly building a lot more dimension. And you can see the shading a lot more. And we're just gonna follow the same pattern of working our way all through each layer again. And again, feel free to pause this video, guys, if you need time to catch up and you need a little extra time, or you need to take a break. If your hand, if it's cramping and you need to kind of stretch your hand out like we did in class, feel free to do that while you're working on this homework assignment. You can also break this drawing up into a couple different sessions if you just wanted to sit down for maybe like 5 minutes at a time and do it. Or you could just do the whole drawing. It shouldn't take you more than half an hour to do. So we're gonna finish shading this up with the 4B pencil. And once we make our way all the way around, which we are almost there, we'll switch to 6B. So stay tuned for that, and I'll let you guys know when we switch to our 6B. Alright guys, so that's a wrap for the 4B, and we're gonna go in with our 6B now. And now I'm actually going over those original lines that we put in, which was the original drawing. So all of like the square, starting from the square to the corners, around the borders, those lines, I'm actually going in with our 6B and making those a lot darker and a lot crisper. So you'll be able to see those lines a lot better now because they're kind of starting to blend in with all the different shading that we've done. This will just help them pop out a little bit. So you're gonna go over everything we originally drew and tie it all in with that 6B pencil. So by now you should really start to see how the shading is making everything pop and how there's really a big contrast now. Shading around the gem and adding a little bit of tone to your paper is also going to make it pop out a little bit more, so that way it's not just sticking out of this stark white background. It's going to kind of blend it together, give it more dimension also. So it's got a background now. It's not just this gem floating in this white space. So that's what you see me doing here. You can use your 6B pencil for that, or even your 4B pencil, and that'll deepen you up a little bit. Alright guys, that is the tutorial. Thanks for tuning in. I can't wait to see what you guys have all done. Don't forget, keep on practicing, keep on drawing, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday.